would you like to speak on any other passage or passages that have the Advent connection?
Yes. Before that, let me just also look at this one small thing. Because in our Eastern world, we have often talked about Word and also Incarnation. We have talked about, in some ways, we talk about Om or Om, or in Sikhism it is Shabad. And then there is this whole idea of Avatara. Now, the thing about Avatara, by the way, in several Indian languages, the word for incarnation uses that word. So we are stuck with that word. However, in the general Eastern understanding of Avatara, it is the divine taking on other forms. But usually it is temporary, and it has the purpose usually to bring some kind of justice or punish the unrighteous, etc. There are many possibilities of Avatara. But the Christian view is God becomes human in history, not in misty clouds of time. And it's a once and for all event, and God is, in a sense, He remains in that human, redeemed or resurrected form. And that is quite an amazing reality. So for our human salvation, God becomes once and for all. And so in some what is called Christward movements, people moving towards Christ, but they don't want to use maybe the words and terms that are usually used in many of the churches. They use things like Purna Avatara, or the ultimate, final Avatara, or they use the word Sat Avatara. So Jesus is that Avatara that has come and finally fulfills all these longings of all these stories that long for God to come into and be with us. Jesus has fulfilled that. That's the message of Advent.
Yes, Pastor. I have a question there on the same thing which you have explained. Can we compare the Christian idea of incarnation with the concept of Avatara? And can we compare the logos with the concept of
That's what I was trying to explain. Yes, but we have to do it with a lot of riders, with a lot of caution. It's not the same exactly, but maybe that in some of those longings that are represented in those stories, that God comes down and is with us. We have the fulfillment. Apostle Paul also, when he's talking to the Athenians in Acts chapter 17, he takes something that they are doing. There's an altar to an unknown God. He starts with that. He even quotes 1728 from two of their own poets who are not, they are pagan poets, and they are talking about their idea of God is very different. And yet he draws from that and he says, and from there he takes them to the truth of the gospel. So I think it is possible to use some of these analogies that we find in our cultures. If we find useful, we can do it carefully. That yes, God has come down and become human like us. God cares. And not only cares, He enters into a world, goes into suffering to bring us ultimately redemption. That's the good news of Advent.